Alright, so I changed this tank up a little bit. Got rid of the big fake log. I was trying to figure out a way to fit it in there, it just didn't work. As you might be able to see, I kept the cave. They always seem to really like it. I kind of kept it around for the blood parrot, but he doesn't really get to use it. Because really, he's been getting terrorized. Well, one, by the green terror, haha, terrible joke, and by the convict pair. So, this tank's gone from the blood parrot's the king of the tank to the convict is, and now the green terror has come into his own, and he's got the convict even running. And I do believe the green terror is now the biggest fish in the tank, which expected it to eventually happen. He's trying to intimidate the convict right there, shaking around and everything. I put a pot in there to see if I could get the convict pair to use that, but they like to be behind this middle rock, back where the two tubes for the gravel filter are. He likes that spot for some reason. I don't know. They don't really. They were trying to kind of use the cave, but the green terror was bugging them way too much. So the catfish have finally kind of taken that over. Let me get in closer here so I can kind of go over what I did here. Out of my planted tank, I took this Amazon sword to see where it's all cut at the top. All of those grew like up into my light, like when I didn't notice it. Some of these other leaves are kind of dying off, but I figure that's from moving it from a dirted tank to a non-dirted tank. But I do have one new growth. That leaf has been coming up and has been very, very strong. I figured it's going to be like my little Beta's tank with its Amazon sword. As soon as that one grows to its full potential, another one's going to come right out of the middle, and it's going to keep on growing. The bamboo have been moved to the side of the tank. They are doing very well. My rock setup here, I was trying to find some big ones to kind of stack, not quite like this. But it just didn't look right. It really looked just terrible and stupid. And, you know, I gotta look at this thing all day. I want it to look pretty nice. So, I put it up against there, kind of in the corner. So, a few of my fish do kind of go back there from time to time. So, lean this one right up next to it. My one catfish really likes that spot. He hangs out in there all the time. There he is. Just, I love my little cave of rocks. This one I put in there just to enforce the cave. Back in there, I put this smaller rock, basically so I could stack this one that's right in front of us better. Just so I could stack it right. So, it worked out. Now, this one was kind of just left over this rock. I didn't know really what to do with it. So I leaned it against these tubes. I'm just like, okay, that seems good enough. Eventually, I bought a few plants. I put that one still in its planter behind, like in between the tubes, and then laid the rock against it. Worked perfectly. I got the idea because I took this Amazon sword, which wasn't in its plastic planter, but still had whatever they're wrapped around, the potted plants, but I just basically used this rock to pin it against that one, because otherwise it was going to float. It's staying pretty well. I newly added this onion plant. See all the root coming out of there? It has a great root system, but I just don't have enough gravel to like really properly bury it. But it's pretty good. I kind of put it in there to kind of disguise my my lights cord, kind of like how I have it over here too. Whatever, it's good enough. I'm thinking about getting maybe a background, but I'm not sure what I want. I might just go with like a blue. and just be done with it. Like I said before, I put the pot in here. God, I'm getting a lot clearer from the window. Put the pot in here just to see if they'd made in there. Not really working. I put a few other critters in here that I knew was going to be dangerous with cichlids, so I tried to make hiding places for them. So I got a bunch of these small rocks. I put one in the bottom, kind of in the center there. I don't think you can see it with this damn glare. But I staggered the rocks in a pile going around it. I made it so there would be a bunch of little pockets where they could get up under there and still have that one supporting rock in the middle. So even if the cichlids rammed it, it probably wouldn't knock it down. Now this plant, let's actually get to the side here. It's in its planter, like before, like the other one. I have the edge of it propped up underneath this rock, so it's not going to float up. It gets enough sunlight here, because here's my TV, but sunlight comes right through, gets to it. It's doing pretty well. The other night I saw my eel down in here, right down there. I saw his tail. It looks like he has since moved. Yeah, high blood parrot. But it seems that he's still alive, so that's good. He was the main one I was worried about. The second one I was worried about, I really kind of had an idea and went with it. It's my little dinosaur. He's getting pretty big. I bought like 3 to 5 plants of Anacris at PetSmart and just brought them in here. Right there, that little stretch right there, that is new growth. I've had this for a little bit over a week now. But alright, right there, that is new growth coming off of that plant. Let's see if I can actually pull some away. Like all that right there, that strand I grabbed, that's new growth. I mean, that's small. These things come off pretty wide. Right there, new growth, a lot of new growth. That's a nice stretch. And you see the actual base plant is like really big, and then the little runner it gets is kind of small. So you easily tell that you got new growth with Anacris. So basically, let's lift this up. I used this onion plant and how it kind of swirls, and I took all of the Anacris that I had and just put it around in the little swirl, and they do well as floater plants. They start to get a little brown and a little die off, but right there, where it kind of looks a little brownish, you got new growth. So, nothing to really worry about. And decent roots coming off of it. But this works really well for him, where if he's getting bothered, he just swims up there and intertwines himself up in there. And just hides up in there. It's really easy for me to feed him by himself, because even if he's out in the tank when I'm feeding, I just put a little bit of bloodworms up in there, or like pellets or something, and he eventually swims right up there and gets some, because no one else will. And a lot of times he's just hanging out up there, just being still, just lurking, looking at what's going on below him. The other day, PetSmart had a sale on neon tetras. They had really small ones. It was like a, what was it? It was like $1 per. So I got like 10. I threw them in here. I figured it would take maybe a few days for the school to get eaten up. Well, I think between him and the Green Terror, they were eaten pretty quickly. But it was during the night that they got eaten. He looked bigger, the Green Terror looked bulgy. It did pretty well. And then and like 2 days later, I did the same thing, and then during the day, they ate them all within an hour. I think there was like one left, but they kept being kind of stupid and going up into the Sinacris, where the dinosaur was just waiting for them, and that was that. So, yeah, it's a pretty good setup. I'm liking how I've done this. It's like I kind of went with a plan, and then once I got the rocks in here, I'm like, oh, my plan's not gonna work. So I just sat there, I brainstormed, I tried to think, how can I get this to work? Started putting the rocks in, got those in. I only had that first onion plant to the right and the 2 bamboo to the left. And I thought about the one Amazon sword that I needed to get out of my old 10-gallon dirted. I thought other little plants I could get, still put them in pots. And then the little Anacris up there for a spot for him to dwell, because he has gills and lungs, so he has to actually go up and get air every once in a while. That isn't just straight through the water. So this is really kind of pieced itself together. I really like the look of the tank. It looks more natural. I mean, other than the pot in the cave over there, and you know, of course the tubes and, you know, the filter and the heater in there, you know, that doesn't make it look natural. I mean, how can you? It's just how it is. But I'm liking this. Oh, and one last thing before I forget. The electric blue Jack Dempsey, he is getting bigger. I'm not sure if that's just brown algae or if that's like some of the food that I give him just kind of staying in that, but he's fine in there. But it's getting more colorful. He has gotten bigger. He's about the size of my tiger barbs. So he's on his way. Read up a little bit more about him. The electric blues are, they're less aggressive than their regular counterparts, and they grow slower. So we'll see. I'm also brainstorming what ideas to end up just leaving the Green Terror in here, and then Jack Dempsey, once he gets bigger, to coexist with the Green Terror. And once that happens and that transitions well, I will probably think about moving some of the fish out here, because the Green Terror's really fucking hitting his growth spurt now. Since my tour of the tanks video, he has grown quite a bit. So, anyways, I'll stop babbling about this, but anyway, I like this tank. Tell me what you think. See ya.